Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going after a pretty huge goal, reading one book every single week for a whole year. Now, I know that sounds intense, but it can completely change your life, and trust me, it's way more doable than you think. Let's get into it.
52. That's the magic number. One book a week for a full year. And look, before you even start thinking it, no, this is not about some crazy speed reading trick, and you don't need to quit your job to have enough free time. This is all about having a smart approach that works for anybody, even if you feel like you're the slowest reader in the world.
I know. Hearing 52 books a year can sound totally impossible. It feels like something only superhumans do, right? But what if I told you the things that are really holding you back have almost nothing to do with how fast your eyes move across a page?
And this right here, this is the secret sauce. This isn't about just gritting your teeth and forcing a new habit. It's about a real transformation. It's about shifting your identity so that you become the kind of person who just, easily reads this much. We're going to keep coming back to this idea.
All right, so before we jump into the how-to, we got to figure out the why not. You know, we all want to read more, but for a lot of us, our bookshelves are basically just fancy decorations. So let's get real about why that book is still sitting there on your nightstand untouched. So this is basically the battle for our brains in the 21st century, isn't it? On one side, you've got a book, which takes focus. And on the other, you have this non-stop fire hose of videos, news, social media, and texts. Our attention is literally the prize, and books are up against some seriously tough competition.
And here's a weird paradox that you might totally recognize. Probably the single biggest thing stopping you from reading is that one book you started and then just lost interest in. It just sits there, kind of judging you, you know? And the guilt of not finishing it makes starting a new book feel like you're cheating on it. It causes total reading paralysis.
Okay, so how do we start to win this battle for our attention? We start by changing our surroundings. The very first step is to design your world, your physical space, and your digital space to make picking up a book the easiest, most obvious choice you can make. All right, let's break these down. Step 1, always, and I mean always, have a book with you. A physical one, an e-reader, whatever. Step 2 is to have all three kinds ready to go. A paper book, an e-book, and an audiobook. That way you can read while you're driving or doing the dishes. Step 3, and this one's a game changer, delete the distracting social media apps from your phone. Make your book app the most exciting thing on there. And finally, just commit to reading for 15 minutes before you go to sleep. It carves out that dedicated time, and it's a great way to wind down.
Now, check out this amazing, kind of counterintuitive idea. The writer Umberto Eco had this concept called the anti-library. It's a collection of all the books you own that you haven't read yet. And instead of making you feel guilty, it's supposed to be this powerful, visual reminder of everything you still have to learn. It's like a physical to-do list that just fuels your curiosity and keeps you going. How cool is that?
So once you've set up your environment for success, the next battle is all in your head. So let's move on to strategy number 2, upgrading the way you actually think about reading. Because honestly, your mindset is way more important than how fast you read. This really comes down to 3 big mental shifts. First, and this is so important, give yourself permission to quit a book. If you're not enjoying it, just stop. Life's too short, right? Second, create a reading project. So instead of just picking books at random, pick a topic you're really into and read a few books about it. And third, make reading social. Talk about what you're reading with people. It keeps you motivated and holds you accountable.
You know, the power of a reading project is just huge. When you read one book on a subject, you got a little taste. But when you read 3 or 4 or 5 books on that same topic, you start to see it from all these different angles. You see where the ideas connect. That's where the really deep, satisfying insights start to happen. Okay, we've talked about your environment, we've talked about your mindset. Now it's time for the final piece of the puzzle. This is the thing that ties it all together and makes reading not just a thing you do, but a real part of who you are.
Let's be super clear about this. The problem of not reading enough, it isn't about finding the perfect note-taking app or learning how to speed read. It is not a technical problem at all. It is an identity problem. This quote just nails it. You can force yourself to do something for a little while with pure willpower. But for a habit to really stick, to become automatic and easy, it has to be powered by a change in how you see yourself. You have to start actually identifying as a reader.
And really, this is the biggest takeaway of all. All the tips and tricks we've talked about, they're just tools to help you build this new identity. Once you start to truly believe, deep down, I am a reader, well, you're already halfway to the finish line.
your actions will just naturally start to fall in line with that belief.
So let's make this real. Let's make that identity happen right now. Forget about the big, scary number of 52 books for a second. Just focus on one. Think about that anti-library of yours, or that topic you've been dying to learn more about. This whole journey doesn't start next year or next week. It starts with one book. So what's it going to be?